では続きまして、校長ドナバン・ヘニカンと副校長のポール・ハモンドより、高等部の授業やカリキュラムなどについてより詳しくご案内させていただきます。
Okay, good morning everybody. It's very good to see you all. A small but select bunch, which is really important. There's a few things that we need to talk about in terms of the curriculum, but also that pathway to university and how everything you've heard so far and everything that we've got in place will really help your children on their pathway to the world's top universities and then on to be successful global citizens. So there's a few things we need to run through. Obviously we've had a fantastic warm welcome from Mr. and Mrs. Hiogi so far. We're going to talk a little bit about the Loris Way, how that all weaves together with the academic program, with the pastoral care, with the extracurricular offering to really support you as families and your children in particular to really help them grow and develop. We'll go into the curriculum in a little bit more in detail, have a look at some recent results as well, talk about options in the future. Very soon your children will be making choices about what pathway they're going to choose on their way to university. And this is, a real strength in particular of the British education system and the Cambridge curriculum. We'll touch on those pathways to university, and at the end we've got a chance for some questions and answers. Okay, you've obviously seen the slide before where we had the people. Just thought I should put some faces up there as well. Because we are a new academic team this year, obviously you'll be familiar with Ms. Donna Van Hagen, who was here last year, but it's myself, Ms. Chiho, I think only joined in April of this year, and then Mr. Kevin Buckley also joined this summer. But it's a fantastically strong team with literally decades of experience in education. Myself, I've been a school leader and a teacher in 6 different countries. And this is actually the 4th different school where I've been involved in helping to set up the high school program. So you can be reassured that there's a really strong team in place to support you, to support your children. As I said, we've got a small but select group of parents today, but I know from personal experience as you go through secondary education, keeping that connection is really important. And then hopefully in subsequent sessions we can encourage more parents to come, because this is a crucial phase of education. And we are here for you to support you every step of the way. So it's about that partnership, that you can approach us, you can talk to us. I know I'm very tall, but I'm really not that scary. So very approachable. Okay. And we have a fantastic team here. Mr. Buckley's been working in secondary education for a very, very long time. Sven Hagen has also been involved in schools and secondary for a very long time. Ms. Chiho Nakagawa, she's on the board, regional board for Cambridge as well. So you've got lots of people you can talk to that you can get advice from. I'm going to hand over now to Ms. Hagen, who's going to talk a little bit more about some other aspects of our program.
Good morning, everybody. As Mr. Hammond said, I'm Donna. I prefer to go by Donna. My second name is extremely long and very difficult for people to pronounce, so I'm quite happy for you to call me Donna. Today we're going to just very briefly look at some of our specialist teachers, which we're very fortunate to have at Loris. We have specialist teachers as well as advisors in all of our STEAM subjects. They each bring a deep subject expertise and a shared commitment to inquiry-based learning. They design experience that help our students to grow, make connections, and encourage them to explore how science and creativity, logic and design can work hand in hand. I'm sure many of you know that we hold 2 big events at Loris every year. One of them is our STEAM Fair and the second one is our E&I Fair. The STEAM Fair is a weekend this year. We'll have it over a weekend, so we'll have lots of people exhibiting. Students will be putting a lot of their work on display, and we'll be looking forward to sharing all of that with you in the future. We also have our E&I Fair, which is going to come up. Children are already working on their E&I Fair projects at the moment. They're busy designing, making their prototypes, and getting ready to develop their ideas. These are some of our expert advisors. Ms. Nene, she helps out with a lot of our entrepreneurship, with our STEAM fair, our STEM education. She helps out with a lot of those. She comes from the United States, and she provides a good grounding for some of our students. Our students have been attending some pitch nights, where they take their ideas to the community and share their ideas with the community. We were very fortunate that Yuto went to one of them, and he was the winner at the Rocket Pitch Night last year. So we're very proud of Yuto. Last year, our current year 10s, our old year 9s, but our current year 10s, we were very, very proud of them. They scored really fantastic results in our Cambridge checkpoint. They performed above the international average in all 3 of the subjects, in English, Maths and Science. In English, our average score was 40, the international average was 34, and they scored really well in reading and writing. Mathematics, the international average was 31, our students combined scored 41. You can see thinking and working mathematically was high up there, followed by number pattern, number work, geometry and measure, algebra, statistics and probability. And the last category that they wrote exams in was science, and they scored 37 as opposed to the international average, which was 31. So we're really, really proud of our students. They show that our students are developing strong academic foundations and the ability to think critically as well as creatively. Obviously, we're going to continue building on these strengths. We'll focus on higher order thinking, problem solving and real world application of skills. And that's me.
Thank you, Ms. Dye. You may be thinking, how is this all relevant? How does this all fit together? Because we've already had several aspects that we've presented on in terms of innovation, AI, entrepreneurship, results, homeschool partnership that I mentioned earlier. There's a lot there, but it's about developing a well-rounded program that supports the children and pulling it all together. As Mrs. Hioki mentioned, if the students are applying to the top US universities, it's about having that balance. So it's not all about the academics. It's about showing that you have lots of different aspects. And that's particularly important. It's common in Asia. This is, I've worked in many countries in Asia. Typically students do very well academically in the Asian region, but they don't always have those extra aspects that you need that the top universities are really looking for. So it's about bringing this all together. And obviously you've been with the school for a while as parents, so you've already had experience, but hopefully today is giving you that sense of narrative about where this direction is going, where we're taking the students and where the journey we're on with you as families. The British school system is a bit different and looks a bit different. Most of you will be more familiar with the Japanese school system with age. I think it's just worth mentioning where the children are on their journey through secondary and off to university, because it is a little bit different. Now in the British system we actually start our examinations a bit earlier with our GCSEs, but that's also where we have a tremendous students have a tremendous opportunity to begin to choose and think about their pathway. There's obviously the core subjects that they do in English, mathematics, biology, chemistry, physics, but then they've got an opportunity then to start exploring some other of their interests. And then with you as well to talk with them about what they want to do, what they want to study, so they can begin constructing their curriculum in a way that suits them and suits you as a family. That further continues into A-level, where they really begin to condense and focus on the subjects that they are strongest in, that they have the most interest in. And then from there, that's the launch to university. So it looks very different, has a different feel to the Japanese system, to the US system, and to the IB system, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a moment. But then hopefully that gives you a sense of the journey and the direction of travel. As I said, it is different. The strength of it is it allows that specialization and a high degree of flexibility in constructing the curriculum and the program that best suits them. And as I mentioned, that's where that conversation, that homeschool partnership is really important, that you've got people you can trust to talk with you, to work with you, to help you construct that pathway and guide. It's that depth of study as well. So A-level subjects go into deeper because they're studying fewer subjects. That allows greater depth. So they're not studying subjects that maybe they have less interest in. They're studying those subjects that they're most interested in, that most motivates them. That allows the A-level curriculum to go into much greater depth. And it's at a higher level than a US high school diploma, than an AP. I would argue higher level than the IB diploma as well, because it's a more specialised curriculum. It's roughly on a par with the first year at university, so it really launches and prepares well. One of my A-level subjects when I studied was economics. I then went and studied economics at university, and I really launched successfully into university. I felt very confident in my first year of studies there because I had a good grounding in it at A-level. There is a greater global recognition. Obviously within Japan there's less recognition, but globally GCSEs, A-levels do have a greater degree, and that is often surprising to some people who think maybe because the US is such a global powerhouse, US high school diploma has more reach, but actually more international schools offer GCSEs and A-levels around the world. They are very well known. And that also provides plenty of opportunity and choice. It may be that your first choice is the US or the UK, but A-levels really help your children choose to go to university anywhere. It may be that as they grow and develop, as you talk with them, they may want to go to a top university in Germany or in France or to Singapore. There's some fantastic universities. They may want to go to Australia. So it provides you really with a great deal of choice about where to go. And then that transition to university, because they're studying in depth, they're getting used to that university way of studying. That transition is much smoother. So obviously we are accredited by Cambridge International Education. Now that does mean we have a great range of subjects. It also means that it's an institution that you can trust, so you'll be familiar with it already as existing parents. But that does give the assurance of a fantastically selection of great globally recognised subjects. It also means there's a reassurance that they do come in and inspect us as well. It's likely they will do within the next year or two as well, as students start to take GCSEs and A-level subjects. And that's a vitally important mechanism to reassure you that what we say we're doing, we are delivering on, and that it is providing a strong pathway to the world's top universities. You'll be familiar with a typical lower secondary curriculum. And again, it's that range, and because we're a school of science and entrepreneurship and innovation, those are all embedded within our curriculum and a strong part, and a stronger part than you would see in many other schools, even many other British schools. I've worked in lots of British schools around the world. But as Mrs. Hiyoki and Mr. Hiyoki were saying earlier, those elements that we add in, why are they so important? It's because it's about building that whole child, about giving them the skills, giving them the experiences that are going to launch them to university and then beyond. So that's why we've got the curriculum balanced in that way around lower secondary. That then feeds through into GCSEs. GCSEs are the world's most popular international qualification, and even at IB schools, and actually even at some American curriculum schools, often they will offer GCSEs before they then do their high school diploma or their IB diploma, because they're so globally well recognised. They have that reassurance around the world. When I was working in one country in particular, where the high school program changed to offering A-levels, before they did that, they had students who completed GCSEs and were still able to access maybe some mid-range universities just with GCSEs alone. And then obviously they did their foundation year before they did their rest of the degree, so they have that reach. And it starts that pathway to admissions. It starts that journey. They do more subjects at GCSEs because it's about giving that strong base in English, in mathematics, in the sciences, in those other subjects. But it starts that journey. So at Loras, this is how that looks, how that comes together. And you see that's where the choice begins to come in, so that students can choose art and design, ICT, geography. They can choose maybe Spanish, environmental management, economics. They've got different subjects they can choose from their different blocks. So it begins to personalise the learning to them. And that's a real strength of the British system. That's why it provides that real strong academic base. But obviously we're looking beyond that. We want to provide a curriculum that's well-rounded. So that's, in British terms, we call that the holistic curriculum. So we have a university preparation course. We provide options for them to learn Japanese, because obviously many students will want to stay within their home country or the country they have come to call home. For me, I refer to Japan as home now. My wife is Japanese and we've been married a very long time. But to fully access the workplace, obviously we need to develop those skills. We provide physical education opportunities. As Mr. Hioki mentioned earlier, mathematics is really, really important. So we provide an accelerated pathway for that. So for those most able and most confident students, they can actually take their maths a year early, after GCSE, and then they can start their A-levels early. That means that then they can complete their A-level mathematics early, and then there's a higher level qualification at A-level called further maths, which really proves their mettle at a really top level. So if they're applying to the top university, they end up with 2 A-level qualifications in mathematics, the base and the higher level. So if that's their pathway, that really presents a strong application to those top universities. Now we've put together a really bespoke university preparation course. It's going to be a timetable part of the curriculum. And that means that we're beginning to ready them. So as they go into year 10, year 11, year 12, year 13, there's various aspects of that we've pulled together to again help give them the life skills that they need, but also, as Mrs. Hioki mentioned earlier, give them those opportunities to show those top universities that they are more than just about their academic grades, that they've had opportunities to do other things. That programme element includes things like the Duke of Edinburgh Award, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a moment, building their personal social health and entrepreneurship skills and studies, helping them to prepare for university with their applications. And you may think that your children now may be a touch young for that. They're really not, because it all comes around very quickly, and for some of the top universities actually you apply in year 12, so when they're around 16, 17. If they want to go to Oxford, then they apply in year 12, which is the first year of A-level studies. And it's similar for many of the top Ivy League and other universities. And then we also start that careers guidance, because particularly A-levels become very specialised. It's really important we talk with you, we talk with them, so that they are choosing A-levels that are most relevant, most important to them, to provide that pathway. Okay. So A-levels build on that foundation. They develop that deep understanding, and it is taken by students worldwide and does help students go to the top universities in the world. It's recognised as a gold standard qualification because of the depth of study that students go into. And as you can see there's a fantastic quote there from Richard Levin, the former president of Yale. So the depth of knowledge displayed by the best A-level students make them prime targets for America's Ivy League universities. So if the US is the goal, A-levels will absolutely help you to get there. Okay, and so this is how we're, at the moment, we are planning to plan and structure and launch the A-level program, which is going to come around very soon. And again, typically they do 3, at most 4 A-levels. So we provided, different pathways. They could follow an entirely STEM stream and do mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology. They could do a more business stream, law, economics, computer science, psychology, or maybe a more humanities, social, liberal arts stream. However, they also got the opportunity to pick and choose from different categories. So they could, for example, do mathematics, economics, English literature as their A-level choices. They could do physics, psychology, geography maybe. So they've got the opportunity to pick and choose the subjects that best suit them and best suit their pathway. Again, we continue, so it's not all about the academic. We're still building through that holistic curriculum. The students will do something called the Cambridge International Project Qualification, and that's about building their study skills, their resilience to write long essays, and it's very similar to the IB extended essay. So it's about giving them that experience of writing and writing to an academic standard. We'll further build their study skills. They have a time in their curriculum where they have to learn to study independently with support, because as we all know, we've all been to university, there's time when you are responsible as a learner for your learning. And that starts in the British system in the A-level programme, where we begin to build those skills so they are ready to launch. Our university preparation course continues and obviously intensifies as we get into that crucial period. And of course the Japanese continues for those students who wish to continue living and working in Japan after they finish their university studies. A crucial component for students where English is not their first language, where they're non-native speakers, we do prepare them for the IELTS exam, and that's to prove their English level. Many of the top universities will ask for that. So my wife, for example, who's Japanese, she's done the IELTS, and she's also done the TOEFL as well. But that requires some preparation and support. But actually, for all students, it's useful to do, because a lot of the skills that are being developed there are useful at university, which is why universities commonly ask for it. The Duke of Edinburgh, you may be less familiar with it. It is a British scheme, but it is recognised by universities worldwide. For example, going back to, I mentioned earlier I did an economics degree. Now the economics course that I applied to at the time was very competitive. I had to do an interview for it. At the interview they didn't ask me about my economics knowledge, they asked me about what I'd done from the Duke of Edinburgh programme, because they'd seen on my application that I had done it. And actually that was what most of the interview was about, my experiences on the Duke of Edinburgh. Where did I do my volunteering? How did I plan my hike? What skills did I thought I had gained from doing that, my personal experiences. So it is a very recognised scheme. And for those students who complete or get all the way up to gold, which is very, very difficult to get actually, they do get to go and meet the British royal family. They do get invited to meet the actual Duke of Edinburgh, for those students who manage to complete that all the way through. So it has great global recognition. It gives them those skills, it gives them that extra thing that they can add that enhances both their application to university but also life skills. How does that all look when you get down to it? Well, this is the pathway. So once they get to the point where they're choosing A levels, we'll be talking with them in these kind of terms. Are they focused on a career in medicine? Is that what you would like as a family? Is that what they would like as an individual? In which case, these are typical A-level subjects they would choose. Are they focused on, they really want to become involved in legal matters, they want to be a lawyer? Typically, we'd say they must study law, they must do English literature. History is often very recommended by universities. But again, through all of this process, we'll be talking with them, and the most important thing is that they are targeting the universities they want to go to, the colleges they want to go to, because every university and college is different. So checking those admissions requirements, and that's why it starts all the way down in year 10, because it's about building that so they are ready to go. Their application is ready to go. So they have expert guidance. I would also say there's lots of great guides out there. That's one of many that helps them really further refine that choice. And then within the school, we have the UniFrog system. We have staff who are experienced at using supporting students with their applications through the US Common App, through the British UCAS system. As I said, we utilize other resources such as the UniGuide to help mentor and guide the young people in our care. So it is about that pathway. The Loris program is a very strong one. It has all those different elements, that it's a well thought out, well-rounded program. As existing parents, you're well aware of the strengths of our school. But you've got people on the team here who are highly experienced. The program has been very thoughtfully constructed and will provide your children with that launch pad to the world's best universities. Okay, thank you very much for listening.
ありがとうございます。それでは最後に、大学進学カウンセラーの西川真子さんより、お話申し上げます。
皆さんおはようございます。カレッジカウンセラーの西川です。今日は一番最後に少しだけお時間をいただいて、簡単に、私たちが大学進学に向けてどういうふうにサポートをしていくのかというのをご紹介したいと思います。まず今、ローラスには、2名のカレッジカウンセラーがおりまして、1人がミスター・プリンス・リッチで、もう1名が私になるんですけれども、それぞれが、違うバックグラウンドから来ておりまして、ミスター・リッチはアメリカの、バックグラウンドを持っています。なので彼は、たくさんアメリカの大学への進学をサポートしてきました。で、対照的に私は、イギリスのバックグラウンドを持っておりまして、GCSE、A レベル、そしてイギリスの大学を、修了しておりますので、今アメリカとイギリスというその2つのメジャーな、大学のデスティネーションをカバーしているというような、状況です。でもちろん、この2つの国以外にも、他の英語圏の国だったり、あと日本の中の、英語のコースでこの前も、ある保護者さんからご質問いただいたんですけど、日本の大学で、